Welcome to chapter 9 of the book of 1 Samuel. Samuel was a man in the last chapter that basically was a ruler of the sons of Israel. He was a cleric, prophet, and he was a judge. So he crossed over from both ecclesiastical to the government. And he was doing fine until he got older, and his two sons became in charge in Beersheba, and they were taking the things sacrificed to God for themselves. People didn't like that, and they came to Samuel, complained, and said that they wanted a king. And Samuel went to God, angry that they wanted a king, but God told him that he would allow that to happen, but to tell the people the things that the king would demand. And Samuel did so and gave him a list of all the things that the king wants and will demand, but they didn't care. We want a king. So God said, go ahead and I'll provide the king. And this is where we start off in chapter 9. And there was a man from out of the sons of Benjamin, and his name was Kish, son of Aviel, son of Zarar, son of Vehorath, son of Aphek, son of a man of... Now here it says Benjamin in the English, but you can see it's not the same. It's Iamineu. So now what an Iamineu is, not exactly sure. I might have to change that in the third edition, but he was a mighty man, Thinatos. Dynamite comes from that word, dynamic, in strength. Kish was. And to this one was a son, and his name was Saul. Now it's believed that he was raised in the city of Gibeah, and Gibeah is over here. Ramah is where Samuel has his house. And he was a huge, goodly man. And there was not among the sons of Israel one good above him. He was head and shoulders and high above over all the land. So here we have this young man, good-looking, strong, big, tall. And the donkeys of Kish, that would be his father, the father of Saul, were lost. Now, a donkey, it's interesting. I thought I'd show a little thing about the donkey. A donkey, the word donkey is a fairly recent name for an ass. For thousands of years, 2,000 or 3,000 years, these animals were called asses. The technical name is Equus africanus asinus. So they were called asses. In the 17th or 18th century, someplace, they started using the word donkey for ass, and nobody really knows why or how that came about. But it says in Wikipedia, a male donkey or ass is called a jack. So there we have a jackass. If people are like, well, this is just a terrible thing to say because it has a really nasty connotation today, but it came from this word. The jack was the male of the ass family, and the female was a jenny. And a young donkey is called a foal, and the jack donkeys are often used to mate with female horses to produce mules. So the jackass mates with the female horses. But a biological reciprocal of a mule from a stallion, that would be a male horse, and the female donkey or ass, the jenny, as its parents instead is called a hiney. So that's another word. When I was a kid, that you called your hiney was your butt. And so these words are almost biblical. And Emi Anu, which was is an ass, is here it is, onus here. Let me go up and there it is. Onus, and plural in the different form, and the nominative is eni. And hemi eni is a half-ass, which was a mule. And so all these words that we have today are considered nasty, wouldn't say them, but they come from the scriptures and from other classical writings, and basically a lot of it from the Greek. So the donkeys of Kish, I use donkeys rather than ass because it just sounds better today, where the father of Kish were lost. Now these donkeys apparently were not as smart as Balaam's donkey, who was able to talk to him and argue with him why he was treating him so badly. But these were not the same level of donkeys that Balaam's donkey had. They were just general donkeys who were running around looking for food, grazing pasture, and went off. And Kish said to Saul, his son, "Take with yourself one of the servant lads and rise up and go and seek the donkeys." So and they went through Mount Ephraim and went through the land of Shalithah and did not find, and they went through the land of Shalim, and it was not. And they went through the land of Benjamin, or Iamineu, the Iaminis, and they did not find. And of their coming unto Ziph, and Saul said to his servant lad with him, "Come, for we should return, lest my father's sparing concerning the donkey should be thoughtful concerning us." So they came into Ziph. Now, nobody is really sure where the Salitha and Shalim are. Ziph, it mentions in the first chapter of this book that the father of Samuel, Elkanah, was from Ramathaim Zophim, the Zoph. So the area there was someplace close to Mount Ephraim. We can go back onto our map here. And Mount Ephraim is over in this area here, I believe. I don't know how far, it doesn't show on this map, but this is where Mount Ephraim is. So they want to return because he's worried about his father being concerned about them. And the servant lad said to him, "Behold, indeed a man of God is in this city, and the man is honorable. All whatever he should speak, coming, it shall be at hand." It's going to happen. "And now we should go there so that he should report to us our way, upon which we should go upon it." And Saul said to his servant lad with him, "Yes, behold, we shall go, but what shall we give? What shall we carry to the man of God? For the breads have failed from out of the containers, and there is not much with us to carry to the man of God that exists to us." And the servant lad proceeded to answer Saul and said, "Well, behold, there is found in my hand a fourth shekel, or shekel, of silver." We have this word you can add to your English derivatives book, shekel, shekel, derivative of silver. "And you shall give it to the man of God, and he shall report to us our way." Now, giving the man of God the money, and he's going to report our way. This is what they thought was the righteous thing to do. Now, in the New Testament, it was interesting because it mentions in 2 Corinthians 2:17, Paul says, "For we are not as the rest, peddling the word of God." And I sometimes have to answer for selling the Bibles, the Apostolic Bible online, and other books. And some people, that think that that's wrong, the wrong thing to do. But it says in the Bible also, in got to find the place here, Galatians 6:6. And let the one being instructed in the word participate with the one instructing in all good things. And then in 1 Corinthians 9:9-11, you shall not muzzle an ox threshing. And Paul goes into there in 1 Timothy 5:17-18 on how the people that are in the Word to live off of the Word. Now, I've never asked anybody for money, and the Lord has provided a lot. Over 15, 20 years now, He has provided everything, and was able to do 2 editions of the Apostolic Bible, working on a 3rd edition, which may be a year away. But the way the Lord has provided for me was the sale of these books. Then I live off of the sale, and I don't have to ask anybody for money, and I don't. Now, I do have one place where you can, or anybody can donate if they would like, and the donations that I get are going to go towards the things of God. Here with the 3rd edition coming up, a lot of money, and I'm saving up for that in about a year. Hopefully it'll be a hardback Bible. It'll probably not have the lexical concordance and the index, English-Greek index in the back. Those will be separate to make it fairly thin so I can send it overseas, international, because the paper would have to be a little thicker, because the paper, the 2nd edition, came from Finland, the Tervakoski mill, and I'm not sure if they could still get that paper. And it was pretty thin. I didn't like how thin it was. It was the opacity you could see through on the other page. So the next heavier page would be a 24-pound, and the other one was 18, Bible paper. And so I'm hoping to order whatever money I get, donations or sales, I'll put it towards the 3rd edition, and depends on how much comes in, whether there will be a 3rd edition or how many of those books there will be. So just a little there is idea giving you where I receive my funds from. At the end of this video seminar, you'll see one of the books that I have that's for sale. And it continues, and before in Israel, thus said each man in their going to ask God, come, we should go to and it should be one seeing. This is the one seeing is a participle. For the prophet was called by the people before the one seeing. And Saul said to his servant lad, your word is good. Come, for we should go. And they went unto the city, of which was there the man of God, Samuel. And of their ascending the ascent of the city, and that they found young women going forth to draw water. And they say to them, is there here the one seeing? And the young women answered them and said, well, he is, behold, in front of you, hurry, hasten. For now he comes into the city because of the day, for a sacrifice today for the people in Bama. Now, Bama in Greek is a high place. It's in this city. It's not the name of the city, but it's a high place in this city where they did sacrifices and so forth. And he would sit and judge. Then they said, as soon as you enter into the city, thus you will find him in the city, before his ascending unto Bama to eat. For in no way should the people eat until his entering, for this one blesses the sacrifice. And after these things the strangers eat, and now ascend. For on account of the day you shall find him. You came the right time. God came, then he has it all planned out. Everything that happens to us in our life is a plan, I believe, by God. Now, walking away from God is not, of course, a plan of God. God knows our hearts. He knows people that are going to do that. Jesus knew that Judas was going to betray him. He says he knows everything in man, but yet the free will of the man was still there. It wasn't usurped by God as such. So God has this plan for Saul. And they were entering in the midst of the city, meson, the mesoderm, the middle layer of skin. And behold, Samuel came forth for meeting them to ascend unto Vamah. So on the road, then they run into Samuel. And the Lord uncovered the ear of Samuel one day before. So God tells him, one day before Saul came to him, saying, At this time tomorrow I will send to you a man from out of the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him for ruler over my people Israel. And he shall deliver, save as in the King James, my people from out of the hand of the Philistines. Now he did early deliver them, but then he was killed. Saul was killed later by the Philistines on Mount Gilboa. Then it continues, For I looked upon the humiliation of my people, for their yelling came to me. So God listens to our cries, and it may not be an immediate remedy, but God listens, and I'm sure he has the best thing planned for us. I don't believe he has anything. It may be something that seems bad at the time, the crucifixion of Christ, the worst, but yet it turned out to be a blessing in that the resurrection of Christ. We are right now, yesterday was Passover, and today's the day after, and this is Thursday, and this Sunday is Easter Sunday. And so God looks out for the humiliation of my people, things that are bad that are happening to us, God knows. And their yelling came to me. So if we don't talk to God and tell him and ask him to help us and to lead us and to guide us, protect us, all these things, then it's somewhat our own fault, isn't it? Because if we have the ability, and God gives us the ability to call out to him, we should take advantage of that. But do we always do that? No. And sometimes you would say, well, how often should I do that? Well, to me, in my old age, I do it all the time. I try to find whatever I'm going to do next, a little project of some sort. Lord, protect me in this and help me get by this. I'm getting old and crippled up and not alert. All kinds of bad things could happen, accidents, but yet I ask the Lord, I do this more and more. Now, when you're younger, you're working, you have a bunch of kids, you probably don't do it as much as an old person that's sitting there. Plus now, everybody's locked in their house because of this cold virus that, to me, it's a good thing because it's brought me closer to God. I'm working on the 3rd edition, as I've mentioned in the last couple of chapters, and now I'm in the middle of John, and I just love it. The story of Lazarus. And then here it continues, and Samuel beheld Saul, and the Lord answered him, Behold, the man whom I said to you, this one shall rule over my people. So God has chosen Saul. And Saul came to Samuel in the midst of the city, and he said, Report indeed to me, of what house is the one seeing? So Saul, and so he's asking, where is the one seeing? And he's asking the seeing one. And Samuel answered Saul and said, Well, I am he. Ascend before me unto Vamah, and eat with me today. And I will send you in the morning, and all the things in your heart I will report to you. And concerning the donkeys being lost to you today for 3 days, you should not put your cartheon heart to them, for they are found. And what are the beautiful things of Israel? Is it not to you and to all the house of your father? You're going to God is going to do a wonderful thing here, even though it didn't sound like that in the last chapter. And Samuel answered and said, well, am I not a man, a son of a Benjamite, Eamineu, Eamonite, of the lesser chiefdom from out of the tribes of Israel, smallest tribe? And my family is least of all the families of Benjamin. And why have you spoken to me concerning this thing? And Samuel took Saul and his servant lad, and he brought them into the lodging and set to them a place among the foremost, protis, a proton first, foremost of the ones being called, about 30 men. And Samuel said to the cook, give to me the portion which I gave to you, which I told you to put it by you. Magiro, a cook. It doesn't appear any other place except here in one other very interesting place. Where would you think they would have a cook that would be mentioned in the Bible outside of here? Well, it's in Ezekiel 46:24. It says, and he said to me, these are the houses of the cooks, of which the ones ministering shall boil there the things offered in the sacrifice by the people. Now, a cook is not mentioned in the Torah, in any of the laws, but yet in the last 10 chapters of the book of Ezekiel, with the temple being on Mount Meron, which I believe is just a little bit west of the Lake of Galilee, that we see so vividly in these last 10 chapters and describe vividly that among these is a house for the cooks. There are no mention of cooks anywhere else in the Bible except for here and Ezekiel. And the cook took the hind quarter, that's part I guess he gave that Samuel gave to him, and the part upon it, and placed it before Saul. So, well, exactly what kind of, probably lamb, big lamb thigh, and making me hungry, and placed it before Saul. And Samuel said to Saul, well, behold, the leftover. Place it before you and eat. For as a testimony it is placed for you by the people. This is for you. You are now becoming the king. Pluck it off. Pull it apart, take it. And Saul ate with Samuel in that day. And he went down from out of Bama into the city. And they spread carpets to Saul upon the roof, and he went to bed. It had become nighttime. And it came to pass, as the dawn ascended, that Samuel called to Saul upon the roof, saying, rise up, and I'll send you out. And Saul rose up, and he and Samuel went forth unto the outside. And as they were going down into the uttermost part of the city, or the end of the city, Akron, that's actually the uttermost, the outer outskirts, that Samuel said to Saul, speak to the young man and let him go in front of us. And you stand here today and hear the word of God. And this is what he is told to do: stand and listen to the word of God. And what that word is, we will find out in the 10th chapter in our next video seminar, which I hope you will join in with us. And until then, God bless.